All right, so this is, I'm going to try this again. I've actually tried this about 5 times. This is just a bunch of false starts. Allergies are still bothering me, and the smoke. Anyhow, so I promised this to the people in the 10K clinic. I'm just going to go through all the stretches and strengthening I've got. Here are the recordings. I'm going to try to do them systematically from upper body to lower body. I'm going to start with the squats because that's the all-purpose thing. It's more probably the only thing that's strengthening out of this. There's no lunges in the recording. I'm going to maybe show lunges, but squats are great. Most of the stretching, I'm going to say, do warm up beforehand. Do a bike or a run, do the stuff afterwards. But if you want to start with squats, no problem with that. I occasionally do squats before a run. It just engages the bahuki, the butt muscles, because that's where most of your strength comes from when you run. So yeah, it doesn't hurt to do that. So start with squats. Let's get right to it. I'm recording this. I'm going to share my screen because I've been practicing all morning. There, good. We'll get rid of this thing because you don't need to see that part and you don't need to see me. So let's start with a squat. Let's start with the basic everyday squats. And let's do squats. And watch what she does. The trick is when you do the squat, you want to be leaning back more a little bit. You want the squat to be more knee centric. There.
For squats, we'll start standing about shoulder width apart, keeping the back straight as we come down. We'll come down as far as is comfortable and back up, and we'll do that for 3 sets of 7.
Now she says as far as comfortable, I'm going to say parallel to the floor. Don't get below that. Don't go to butt touching the ground. I know some people do that because it looks cool, but just you want to go parallel to the ground, and that should be it. If you go below, I'm going to say knee problems. You will see guys with like 300 pounds on their back doing right to butt the ground and try to do that. I think in the long run that hurts. But if you want to get the back straight, broomstick. We all have one of these, right? I do. Anyhow, broomstick back. And just squat and keep the back straight. Again, try to keep the back straight. You're still leaning forward a bit, but yeah, keep that back straight. That's important. I don't know if you can see that because I can't watch myself on this. But again, squats, I love doing squats. I could do squats all the time. I say squats. Lunges, yes, lunges are good. Lunges are good as well. And I wish lunges and squats have saved my knees. I think I talked about sore knees earlier, and it made the difference. Just doing that, leg presses for sure. So anyhow, that's squat. So it's a wall squat. The person in this is using it for calves as well, for the soleus, and yeah, there we go.
For the soleus wall squat with the back against the wall, we'll come into a squat position. And then we'll elevate the heels, holding this 3 times until fatigued.
Okay, so what I'm going to say she's doing here, the strength is coming from here. This is a stretch. So you're stretching the soleus muscle because there's 2 muscles, soleus, and I call it gastrocnemius. She calls it something else, but they're 2 muscles. This stretches that. And if you want to do just a wall squat with your feet flat, that's fine too. If you can hold that spot position for a certain count, say count 10 if you can, it's going to hurt. That's as much as I love squats, wall squats, I hate. I have a friend who's actually has titanium knees. He had his knees replaced. He can do this forever, but it takes practice. But again, practice and work out, and the more you do them, the stronger you get. So that's for squats. Now let's just go through the standing workouts, the stretches. Let's start with knee to wall. This is again for calves.
For knee to wall, we'll start in a staggered position, bringing the front knee towards the wall, bringing the foot back until you feel a nice stretch in the calf of the back leg, holding for about 30 seconds, 3 times per leg.
Okay, so watch what's happening with that foot. That's the key. You just a little bit of a turn out, then that catches in the gastrocnemius. That's where you get that stretch. And if you want to make this more about soleus, what you do is you just bend the knee a bit more. I think you'll see it when she does the other stretch for soleus, because there's 2 and you can do both double duty. Let's just watch this one more time.
For knee to wall, we'll start in a staggered position, bringing the front knee towards the wall, bringing the foot back until you feel a nice stretch in the calf of the back leg, holding for about 30 seconds, 3 times per leg.
Right on. So good stuff. Again, I like that. I like doing that. But again, after warm up, and calves are important. So we got the calf. Let's do the other calf. There's where's her other calf? Where's the other calf? toe extension, that does as well. Again, this is just a little bit different.
For the toe extensor stretch, we can elevate the heel, shifting your weight into the front foot until you feel a nice stretch in the bottom of the foot. Doing this 3 times each leg, holding for about 30 seconds.
That's kind of cool. I don't use that a lot.
For the toe extensor stretch, we can elevate the heel, shifting your weight into the front foot until you feel a nice stretch in the bottom of the foot. Doing this 3 times each leg, holding for about 30 seconds.
So what you're actually stretching is the fascia. You guys have heard plantar fasciitis, right? So what she's doing is she's stretching that part.
For the toe extensor stretch, we can elevate the heel, shifting your weight into the front foot until you feel a nice stretch in the bottom of the foot. Doing this 3 times each leg, holding for about 30 seconds.
Now, if you walked on your toes like that, what you're actually stretching is the calves. So again, it's double duty for that. Again, I think I showed you guys a toe and heel walk. Just walk on your walk toes and walk heels. And walk toes. Again, so you're, I'm almost dancing here, but again, it stretches your calves. And you don't really stretch your shins. The shins, there's no muscle or anything there to stretch. It's around the front of your shins. So you don't really stretch that. You're stretching the calves. A lot of times when people have problems with their shins, that's the calves. Tight calves, really strong calves, hard calves, solid core calves. So again, stretching is great. Massage is great. Foam rolling on your calves is great. You do all of the above, your calves will be fine. Just some of us have stronger calves than most. So let's try the back extension.
For back extension stretch, we'll start facing the wall. We'll put the arms up against the wall, hinging the hips forward until you feel a nice stretch in the low back. Then we'll hold that for 30 seconds, doing that 3 times.
Now, another way to do this, and actually that's neat because she's actually stretching that. She's also stretching her hamstrings a little bit. Lie on the floor and just try to lift yourself up using your belly button. We call them Superman. Arms out the sides, legs behind you, stretched out as well, and try to lift yourself by your belly. You're stretching the lower back as well. And also, it's nice to get that going. If you ever in a gym, you know, the hyperextension machine, is the bench, right, for doing your lower back. That's great if you can get into a gym. This works as well, but it also works the hamstrings, because our hamstrings don't get a lot of work when we run. It's quads mostly. And what happens, especially if you get a sore back, what's happening is the quads are getting stronger. They're pulling you forward. So that puts pressure on your back, puts pressure on your hamstrings. So you strengthen those up. Good to go. So this is a good thing to do. But if you can get into a gym, do squats as well, because squats work your quads and hamstrings as well. Actually, squats work pretty much all your lower body. If you're using weights, the entire body. So squats are great for everything. But you want to make sure those are as strong as the back, as strong as the front, because you want both sides, right? It's just like bodybuilders using arms. You want to do the triceps as well as the biceps. Same thing here, quads and hamstrings. So make sure you do that. And again, do you have to do this all the time? Not necessarily. I say 3 times a week. If you want to do more, fine. If you want to just break it up into, say, 3 different work stretches a day, that's fine. But there's a lot of different things you can do. So we got that. We got the toe extension. Let's start working on lower body. I think we will. So let's start with thread the needle. This is more for core and upper body, more for the core, but it doesn't hurt to do.
For thread the needle, we'll start on the hands and the knees. We're going to lift the arm up and thread the arm through, and we'll do that for 3 sets of 7.
So it feels so good on your back, right? So why not? Let's just do it one more time.
For thread the needle, we'll start on the hands and the knees. We're going to lift the arm up and thread the arm through, and we'll do that for 3 sets of 7.
And this is where I'm going to see if you can do this with another person, that's good to do too, especially if you can watch each other. Because the trick is you want the form to be right? If any of you have done planks are great as long as your core is engaged. If it's not, if your back is not straight, you're not doing any good. And it's really hard unless you're looking in a mirror, maybe. But if you have somebody else watching you do that as well, It's just making sure that that's engaged. Make sure that's your back is flat, because a lot of times you'll do that and somebody will walk by, especially a trainer, and they'll say, hey, that's not right. So you want to get that right. So let's do clamshells.
For clamshells, we'll start laying on the side with the knees bent, and we're going to open up with the top leg while keeping the feet together, squeezing the glutes as you lift the leg, keeping the hips nice and stacked on top of each other and not leaning backwards. We'll do this for 3 sets of 7 on each side.
So is there magic to the 3 sets of 7? No, you can do 10 reps. I sometimes do this in front of the TV just because I know it bugs my wife.
For clamshells, we'll start laying on the side with the knees bent, and we're going to open up with the top leg while keeping the feet together, squeezing the glutes as you lift the leg, keeping the hips nice and stacked on top of each other and not leaning backwards. We'll do this for 3 sets of 7 on each side.
So the trick to that is what you're actually strengthening is right here. That's why she says squeeze the butt cheeks together and work that. Make sure it gets the workout, because that muscle connects to the, I guess, going to connect to the IT band, which connects to the knee, which if it's not strong, what happens is the knee does not track properly, and that's where you have knee problems. So there, get that stronger. That works out better. So yeah, there's a reason for this stuff. Okay, so that's the clamshell. Let's go to the hamstring flossing.
For hamstring flossing, we're going to grab behind the thigh of one leg. We're going to straighten and bend, straighten and bend, and we'll do that 7 times on each leg for 3 sets.
Again, hamstrings, you want to make sure they're strong. You want to make sure they're good to go, because again, you have to have strong hamstrings, strong quads. So it doesn't hurt to do this.
For hamstring flossing, we're going to grab behind the thigh of one leg. We're going to straighten and bend, straighten and bend, and we'll do that 7 times on each leg for 3 sets.
Other way to make this better, when she's got her leg up in the air, if you have like a belt, a towel, a rubber band, put it around your foot when the foot's in the air, that'll help. You'll feel the stretch in your hamstring, but also you can actually just lift your toe up with a band around your foot, and you're stretching your calves. So that's, I think, I don't know if I may have skipped that video in here, but I'll show you in a minute, because you want to do these for lying down. So that's cool. And here we go. If you have a foam roller, and I'm going to say this is almost, I'm not mandatory that you have one, but every runner should have a foam roller. I use mine a lot for my calves, for my hamstrings for sure, quads as well. Not so much my back. I should be using it more, but again, it's handy to have, but she's not using it for that.
For thoracic openers, we'll start laying on the side. We'll have our knee propped up on a foam roller. We'll start with the hands together. We'll open up with the top arm until we feel a nice stretch, and then we'll hold it there. We'll do this on each side 3 times, holding for 30 seconds.
And they're working core.
For thoracic openers, we'll start laying on the side. We'll have our knee propped up on a foam roller. We'll start with the hands together. We'll open up with the top arm until we feel a nice stretch, and then we'll hold it there. We'll do this on each side 3 times, holding for 30 seconds.
Hold on. There. Calf raises we've done. Let's do figure 4. I love this. Is my favorite stretch.
For the figure 4 stretch, we can start in a seated position, cross the leg over and push the knee forwards until you feel a nice stretch in the glutes. If you need a deeper stretch, you can lay back and pull the thigh in towards the chest. And we'll do this on each side 3 times, holding for 30 seconds.
I love that. That's my favorite stretch for some reason. It just feels so good.
We can start in a seated position, cross the leg over and push the knee forwards until you feel a nice stretch in the glutes. If you need a deeper stretch, you can lay back and pull the thigh in towards the chest. And we'll do this on each side 3 times, holding for 30 seconds.
Again, you're stretching 2 different things. You're actually stretching the quad. You're also stretching the hamstring a bit. So again, a double duty, but it's like almost like a massage. I love doing that. That's I don't know if you should have a favorite stretch, but that's one of my favorite. Right on. We did squats. Let's do bird dog. We've all done this. We wonder why, but there's a reason.
For bird dogs, we're going to come onto the hands and the knees. We're going to extend opposite arm to opposite leg, keeping the back and the core nice and stable. And we'll do this for 3 sets of 7.
Again, more for the core. The trick is, yes, it feels easy, right? It's easy to do, but not if you do more than just one set, right? So do like three sets, and by the 3rd set, it's gonna be harder. So yeah, that's the point there. Okay, so bird dog and pigeon stretch.
For pigeon stretch, you'll have one leg bent in front of you like so, the back leg extended. You can lean forward for a deeper stretch. We'll do this 3 times on each side, holding for 30 seconds.
Again, a good stretch as well.
For pigeon stretch, you'll have one leg bent in front of you like so, the back leg extended. You can lean forward for a deeper stretch. We'll do this 3 times on each side, holding for 30 seconds.
Good, that's good. I'm going to show you a different method of that if I can. I'll see how it goes here. But again, watch your knees. Make sure your knees do not hurt. That's probably one thing to be careful with too, because we don't want to hurt our knees. There's so many different ways we can hurt our knees. Okay, so we did that. Let's do toe extension. We did that. Aha, glute bridge.
For glute bridges, we'll start laying on the back, have the knees bent. We'll lift the bum up, squeezing the glutes and activating the core on the way up, relaxing on the way down. We'll do this for 3 sets of 7.
So activating the core, but also working the quads. The trick, one other thing you can do with that is instead of both feet on the ground, when you're doing the up, lift one leg up. So one leg's in the air. It just puts a little more weight, I guess.
For glute bridges, we'll start laying on the back, have the knees bent. We'll lift the bum up, squeezing the glutes and activating the core on the way up, relaxing on the way down. We'll do this for 3 sets of 7.
Good. So yeah, again, working the core because you need a strong core. Knees to chest. I don't want to do that yet. Tibialis, let's do that.
For the tibialis posterior stretch, placing a towel around the foot, turning the foot slightly outwards and pulling back until you feel a nice stretch along the back of the calf. Doing this 3 times each leg, holding for about 30 seconds.
So the way I would change this, lie on your back, that in the air, leg straight, and pull. So you're doing both. You're doing both duty. You're stretching the foot, so you're stretching the calves, but you're also working the hamstring. So that works as well. So double duty for that. On the floor, like that's fine. Again, it's almost like a yoga move. You'll see where people try to actually grab the foot with their hands and lean forward. It does the same thing. You're stretching your back a little bit more when you're doing that, but like she's doing is fine. But I like the lying on your back and foot in the air. It just seems to do a little more work.
For the tibialis posterior stretch, placing a towel around the foot, turning the foot slightly outwards and pulling back until you feel a nice stretch along the back of the calf. Doing this 3 times each leg, holding for about 30 seconds.
So a lot of work with your calves. Wonder why that is, because we all have sore calves. And so let's do that. We did the back. Kneeling hip flexors.
For kneeling hip flexor stretch, we'll start on the knees. We'll bring one foot up and hinge the hips forward until you feel a nice stretch, keeping an upright posture, holding for 30 seconds. And we'll do this 3 times on each leg.
And the secret there is like lunges. Make sure the knee never goes ahead of the foot. So make sure the foot stays up and down and doesn't lean forward. So just like she's doing.
For kneeling hip flexor stretch, we'll start on the knees. We'll bring one foot up and hinge the hips forward until you feel a nice stretch, keeping an upright posture, holding for 30 seconds. And we'll do this 3 times on each leg.
And just when you do this, be conscious of what you're actually stretching. It's that, not that. So the stretch should be feeling the stretch right there. And well, let's do the cobra press. We've all done this in yoga class.
For Cobra press-ups, we'll start laying on the stomach with the hands in line with the shoulders. And we're gonna press up, lifting the chest up off the mat and back down. And we'll do this for 3 sets of 7.
So the trick with this, make sure you know you're working that and not your arms. So make sure you're lifting up without using your arms to lift you up. But you can also go higher up as the more you do, as most of us have done the Cobra. It's yeah, you can go a little bit higher. But again, it works.
For Cobra press-ups, we'll start laying on the stomach with the hands in line with the shoulders. And we're gonna press up, lifting the chest up off the mat and back down. And we'll do this for 3 sets of 7.
And most of you will know this. After you do this, you do a push-up, then you lift up and do downward facing dog. So cool. Again, it's just almost part of the sun salutation, right? Okay, so that's that. We've done the fidget stretch. Let's do the knees. Where are you here? Knees to chest. Usually finish off with this.
Chest, you can hug both knees to the chest until you feel a nice stretch. For knees to chest, you need a bit of a deeper stretch. Knees to the chest until you feel a nice stretch. Holding for 30 seconds. You need a bit of repeating this 3 times. You single leg.
Yeah, I did that wrong. Let's just do it with one voice at a time. Again.
For knees to chest, you can hug both knees to the chest until you feel a nice stretch. If you need a bit of a deeper stretch, you can do single leg, holding for 30 seconds and repeating this 3 times.
So there's that one, but there's also, where are you? Side to side.
For knees to side, we'll start laying on the back. We'll rock the knees gently from one side to the other. If you need a bit more of a stretch, you can lift the feet off the ground. Same thing, rocking side to side. We can do this 3 times for about 30 seconds.
There you go. Right on. And to finish off, some people start their yoga with cat-cow. I don't mind finishing with it. Just with cat-cow, just listen to your breath.
For cat-cow, we'll start on the hands and the knees. We'll arch the back up and then bring the belly button towards the floor. And we'll do that for 3 sets of 7.
So listen to your breath when you do that. Breathe in, cat, breathe out, cow. Breathe in, cat, breathe out, cow. I don't know why they call it cat-cow, but I guess that's why.
For cat-cow, we'll start on the hands and the knees. We'll arch the back up and then bring the belly button towards the floor. And we'll do that for 3 sets of 7.
Okay, and I think I missed one. Sorry about that. This is going to finish off with something that maybe should be just after squats. Banded side to side. You can buy those bands almost anywhere. We have them at the store, Running Room for store. Walmart sells them. In my store, there's Aspen Healthcare. They sell healthcare stuff like for people that are just going to a hospital. They also sell these things. So it doesn't hurt to use those.
For banded side stepping, we'll start with the band just above the knees. We'll go into a bit of a squat position and walking side to side, making sure not to step all the way together, but just little steps so that there's tension in the band at all times. We'll do this 3 times until fatigue.
Exactly. The other thing you can do too is a band doesn't have to be there. You can actually have it around your calves as well, which I do. You don't want them on the knees. Below or above is fine, but yeah, it's a nice option to do. So I think that's all of them. Yeah, squats for sure. I love doing squats. Every one of these is fine. Could you do them all at once? Sure, for sure. Fine. If you got the time. If you want to pick 3 of them at a time to do, fine. Do 3 on one day, 3 others on another day, 3 on a different day. That's fine. If you want to do some after every run, fine. If you want to use them for warming up, I would warm up. I would do squats for sure. I wouldn't do anything else because that should be enough. I'm just going to stop the share because we don't need to share this anymore. And yeah, just whatever. It's just warm up a bit. Squats, if you want to do squats to warm up before you do everything else, that's fine. Just be conscious of what you're doing, conscious which body part you're stretching. Always engage your core. That helps as well. And like I say, if you're going to want to add something real easy, just go for a bike ride, go for a swim. That engages your core as well. Anyhow, so we'll talk to you, everybody, next clinic, and hope you got something out of this because it took me a few tries to get it going. So we'll stop recording there.